Today, we're looking at the Basco Sopora shower door. Well, here's the box. Well, let's see what's inside. Okay, here's what came in the box. Of course, we got our shower door. Glass shower door with the obscure glass. Got the pivot rail. Then we got the jamb for the other side. Got a curb. And then we got a drip rail right there. Got two pieces of clear vinyl drip whip rail. One's a short one, one's a long one. And of course we got instructions and a hardware pack. Looking at the door more closely, we can see one side is designed to be for the pivot, and then the other side has holes drilled for the handle. We can see that there is a magnetic strip that would contact the magnetic strip on the jamb. And as far as a left side pivot and right side pivot, basically just turn the door upside down. We can see there's a pivot right here, and if you notice, it goes up and down, it slides in this little tray, and that's how you adjust for different sized openings. And then these two bolts right here would screw into there and lock it into the correct position to get the required width. Okay, now we're going to take the door vinyl wiper and install it in the pivot jamb, and you can kind of see how there's a little groove right there. We're going to take this vinyl and slide it in there. Now we take out one of the pivot brackets and the Allen wrench. When you take out the pivot bracket, remember there's a little itty bitty set screw inside there. You kind of see it's like right there, and don't lose it. Okay, once we get the vinyl strip in there, they say to cut it off about 7/8 from the end on both sides. Now we figure out which end's going to be the bottom, depending upon whether you have a left pivot or a right pivot. This is the bottom for me. And we put this thing in here. You can see how it keys in. And then you can kind of see at the top here, you can see there's a hole right there and a hole right there. Then we've got that number 6 screw. This screw right there, we screw it in. We all tighten down right at the very end and make it nice and tight so it'll last for many, many years. Okay, the first step is to put down the curb. And I wasn't too sure whether I wanted it or not. I didn't really need it. It's not like I'm going to have water coming out of the shower. But I put it down anyway. And notice that there's a ridge right here. And where that ridge is where the next piece goes on. Took out the old shower and filled up all the old holes with grout. Although silicone rubber might be good too. Okay, so now we have to carefully mark the holes. Of course, I have a level, pencil marker, and then to drill the holes, we got a 7/32 masonry bit and a hammer drill. It's so nice. I sure hope you have a hammer drill. And of course, I got a little center punch and a hammer, and we got everything all marked along the walls here, and they're got a nice little X marks the spot, and we'll get it in there. Obviously, the center punch works to get you started so that your drill bit doesn't wander off. It's a finished hole, and it went in just a little bit more than a 1/2 inch before I was all done with the masonry, and I came up to the wood, and I don't want to drill the wood anymore. So let me show you what's going on. You notice they have these nice long screws here. They have these little blue plastic wall plugs. Now, I have wood back here, so I'm going to screw directly into the stud that goes back there. I'm not going to bother with these wall plugs, but perhaps your installation might be different. Okay, I got the pivot jamb and the striker jamb all installed. Everything went nice and smoothly. They gave some nice long screws for this one here, and I was able to bite into the wood really nice. But I had to resort to a plan B on the jamb one. The screws were a lot shorter, and I really wasn't getting a real secure bite in the wood behind there. So I put the blue wall anchors in, And then I actually had some screws that are 1/4 inch longer that actually went into the wood. And now that thing's very secure. You may want to think about getting some longer screws if you're doing this yourself. Okay, now we have to set the pivot. And we're going to set the pivot at the bottom first. So according to instructions, you measure the opening at the bottom, right by the curb plate, from wall to wall, ignoring all the aluminum that you put in. And mine was 33 3/4. So now we subtract 3 3/16. So that gives me 29 5/16. So we'll take the square pivot locking screw and tighten it down. It's square, so you'll need a crescent wrench. Okay, put the pivot bushing into the bottom and then install the door. Once you put the pin in the pivot, then you do the top part and tighten everything up and good to go. The handle goes on nice and easy. The attached hardware. Okay, now we're ready for the bottom drip rail. Now, this drip rail mounts along the bottom of the inside door to catch water and make it go off the side. So you can see it's like a little trough. And I put a plug on the outside end, and all the water would drain out towards the pivot end. You only use one plug. It has a left and a right plug, and you have to figure out which one's best for your installation. It's got this vinyl tape that goes in the bottom. And the directions said they had the vinyl tape stick out this end a little bit, and then stick it out a long ways out this end here. And none of that made sense to me. It sounded like it looked like crap if I did that. So I just cut it off flush. And then anyway, we used this double-sided tape to stick this thing onto the bottom of the door, which, I'm really not too thrilled about. It would have been nice if they'd had a couple of screws and screw holes. A little alcohol and wipe off the back of this rail and the back of the door before putting on the double-sided adhesive tape. Okay, now we got the adhesive tape on there, and it's stuck on pretty well. And the next thing I'll do is peel off this blue backing and press it onto the bottom of the door. Well, the drip rail's all installed, and boy, oh boy, I wished I'd have read the instructions more carefully. See, I got it level. I put it level on the end, which is good, but this end is supposed to be lower. It should have been down, maybe 1/4 inch more on that side, so the water that it gets in here will drain off and drain to the side. Oh well, my mistake. Now it's time to caulk everything. I got 100% silicone caulk clear. Now one of the important things is it says mold free. You can buy 2 types of silicone rubber. Some of it has anti-mold, antifungal agents built into it. It's designed for bathrooms. And other stuff is not designed for bathrooms, and it does not have the mold inhibitors. So make sure you get the good stuff. Usually you want to get the most expensive stuff. And of course we have to caulk along the top of this drip edge because cleaners and water will get in there and attack that double-sided tape. So you have to caulk along there, and then caulk along all of the edges along both jambs and along the floor. Well, we're all done. Take a look at this thing. See how the magnetic latch works. It snicks, and then you have to give it a pretty good size pull to pull off. Seems to work pretty well. Looks fairly nice. I know this was the cheapest one they had, and I got $100 off because it's an open package and it had a dent in the frame. But I guess for the cheapest, it's not bad. No complaints. Like I say, it closes pretty securely, stays closed. See, it does have a little bit of floppiness in the frame. If I'd gotten one of the $800 ones with the stainless steel frame, I'm sure it would have been a lot better. Well, I guess it seems to be a good value for the money. It's not that hard to install and does the job.